We're very pleased to have you join us on the news. It's nationwide and we're live on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. Kano State Government has approved the dethronement of Muhammadu Sanusi II as Emir of Kano. The decision was taken during an extraordinary meeting of the State Executive Council presided over by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Abdullahi Mustafa has the report.
Muhammadu Sanusi II ascended the throne as 14th Fulani Emir of Kano on June 8, 2014, owing to the death of 13th ruler Alhaji Ado Bayero. In the last 1 year, however, the relationship between the monarch and the state government has been sour due to certain misunderstandings. The tussle seems to come to an end following the State Executive Council's decision to approve his immediate dethronement.
The Emir of Kano is in total disrespect to lawful instructions from the office of the state governor and the other local authorities, including his persistent refusal to attend official meetings and the programs organized by the government without any lawful justification, which amounts to total insubordination.
While awaiting the announcement of a new emir, the council enjoined the people of Kano to remain calm and go about their normal businesses. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Right, let's bring you update on coronavirus. The federal government has confirmed the second case of the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, in the country. Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, who disclosed this at a news conference in Benin, Edo State, said the patient is a Nigerian who had contact with the Italian citizen who imported the virus into the country. He stated that the patient, who had been in isolation, is now under quarantine. While calling for calm, the health minister assured Nigerians that the situation is under control. Nigeria recorded its first case of coronavirus disease on February 27th, if we recall. And following a recent release of a case of COVID-19 in Cameroon by the government of that country and the reported case in Lagos State, the Cross River State government has stepped up surveillance and intensified information dissemination in the state. Now, to achieve this, it is collaborating with the Vehicle Inspection Officers Unit on an enlightenment to maintain personal hygiene by operators of commercial tricycles in Calabar, South Local Government Area. Achibong Basi will tell us more.
Taking proactive measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19 is the reason for this sensitization campaign brought to the doorsteps of operators of the transport sector, who drivers of this initiative say are important in the state's economic development. The operators were enlightened on the importance of regular hand washing and the use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers, while urging them to be conscious of their health as they interact with people. The Vehicle Inspection Officer, Paul Bepe, speaks on the choice of keke riders to kickstart the campaign.
If the operators are safe, the passengers will probably be safe and customers will be safe. We also have a date for the commercial drivers. We also have a date for the truck drivers. So we are just starting with the keke because they are my first point of call.
The Cross River State government says it is determined to ensure information on COVID-19 outbreak and the standard best practices in staying healthy is taken seriously.
We have to step up our surveillance, we have to step up our information dissemination across the state just to keep Cross Riverians free. Remember, we border Cameroon at this end, and there's one flight that can take you from Lagos into Cross River.
Free hand sanitizers were also distributed to the commercial tricycle operators in Calabar, Achibombasi, NTA News.
All right, let's take you back to the issue on the dethronement of Emir of Kano State following the removal of the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, by the Kano State Executive Council. The mood at the palace, our reporter said, is tense. Elizabeth Yila Lamido report that the main entrance to the palace were barricaded. Let's see it.
This is the main entrance to the Emir's Palace of the Kano Emirate, which is heavily guarded by security operatives since the announcement of the removal by the state government. All the royal guards have been withdrawn and no one is allowed into the palace. The royal flag behind me signifies the presence of the Emir in the palace. The flag is put up by 8 a.m. in the morning and put down by 6 p.m.
Allah muka dogara, Allah shi yake komai, shi yake bada mulki a lokacin da yaso, yake kwacewa a lokacin da yaso.
The atmosphere here is very tense as people are refusing to talk. However, crowd is beginning to gather at the gate. In Kano, Elizabeth Yilalamido, NTA News.
Many thanks, Elizabeth. And still staying in Kano on that situation, we join Abdullahi Mustafa live to give us another situation report. Abdullahi, if you can hear me loud and clear, what's the situation report like there? How are residents in Kano taking the whole scenario?
Actually, the situation is normal. At the palace, actually, since morning, before the commencement of the extraordinary meeting of the State Executive Council in Kano, at the government house rather, there was heavy presence or deployment of security personnel around the palace, even along the road leading to the area, as well as the government house also, because it seems there was they put on alert the security agencies. So maybe it was done to in the event of any breach of law or violence. Actually, up to this time I'm talking to you, Kano is calm. Everybody is going about his normal businesses. All the market, shops and businesses are still going on. So it is, but you see people in group discussing about the issue. Actually, it is the issue of discussion today. It is the burning issue in Kano.
Okay, Abdullahi, I know it's not time to start asking questions about who takes the throne next, but what happened specifically at the government house when it was announced?
Actually, it was people just as in the town, because from what you can see on the faces of people that are loyal to the governor, they were smiling that they are happy with the decision, because just after the meeting or midway, when the meeting was going on, newsmen were invited into the executive chamber, and the secretary to the state government read out the outcome of the resolution of the council. And after coming out and the stories were released, we are just discussing and celebrating it. Actually, they were satisfied with the decision of the council and they about it. But in the town, people have different just actually they are not in support of the dethronement.
Okay, Abdullahi, we also learned that there was a rowdy session at the assembly, and when Elizabeth reported earlier, she said at the palace it was a tense situation. Can you give us an update to that?
Was there in the morning at the State House of Assembly. This because there was another issue, a petition against the emir by a group, and there was even a rowdy session the question is here to me. Shed more light on what there.
What actually?
Okay, Samira is there to also give us another update. Samira, please tell us what happened at the assembly.
For the presentation.
Samira, if you can hear me, can you tell us how it went? We hear there was a rowdy session during the assembly, during the State Executive Council meeting. Can you tell us the situation? All right, we seem to have lost signal there, but if we can reconnect, we'll definitely get back to Samira and Abdullahi. But let's go back to update on COVID-19. Beyond being a global health emergency, the outbreak of coronavirus is having far-reaching consequences on the world economy. With oil prices plunging into an all-time low within this period, Nigeria is not immune to ripple effect of this epidemic. But experts on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria see it as an advantage for the nation to explore untapped resources for economic growth. Let's hear from Lydia Sampson.
The coronavirus outbreak has caused the Asian giant to close in on different fronts as it battles the novel virus, impacting the world in no small means. With oil price crashing, Nigeria's foreign exchange earner, crude oil, is unlikely to meet the projections for the 2020 budget. Some guests on the program called for sectoral appraisal that maximizes sectoral opportunities.
We're likely to have in the next 1 month, in the next few months, a situation where the income from oil and from other oil-related imports, which increases our revenue, will go down, and we will be feeling the effect in not being able to fund our capital budget and being challenged in even recurrence and salary.
And we are not immune. So when you drill down on what are potentially going to happen to the aviation industry, you see the drop in the passenger traffic because the flights going in and out of China, nobody wants to take that risk.
While the challenges stare daringly, some other guests highlight the opportunities within in the trade volumes between Europe and Africa.
We depend on oil to earn over 90% of our foreign exchange, and the demand has gone down. And unfortunately, like my colleagues have reported, there was a crisis in OPEC.
The loan that was just approved by the Senate, 22.7 billion thereabouts. A number of us are very, very excited because for me, I think that is a process of diversification and, of course, increasing our capacity for productivity.
The guests were unanimous on the need to start refining crude oil in Nigeria, as well as looking into the fiscal and monetary policy, which might serve as buffers. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, let's rejoin our correspondent in Kano, Samira, who is at the State Assembly to give us first-hand information how it all went down when the announcement of the dethronement of the Emir of Kano was announced. So, Samira, I want to believe you can hear me now. Can you give us the situation report? We hear there was a rowdy session when the announcement was made. All right, we seem to be having signal problem there again, but let's take a break. We'll be back shortly, so stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. All right, let's take you to Kaduna now as we join one of our correspondents, Majama Adamu, to give us a live situation report at one of the Kaduna parks, motor parks there, on the, precautionary measures motor parks have put in place to contain the spread of coronavirus. Majama Adamu, if you can hear me loud and clear, what's the situation report there at one of the parks I hear you are right now?
Hello, Rudias. Welcome to Kaduna. The Kaduna State Rapid Response Committee against COVID-19 has been upholding and consolidating upon the measures, talking about proactive preventive measures already put in place to contend with this deadly virus. Already the Infectious Disease Center here in Kaduna has been augmented, while health workers under the Rapid Response Committee has been receiving training to enhance their capacity, and they have equally been deployed to entry and exit point across the state, talking about the airport, the train station, and the many motor parks across Kaduna metropolis, where more than 3 million people reside. We are right now at the Cow Motor Park, one of the largest motor parks in town. where the Rapid Response Committee is at work talking about advocacy and other things. I'm now being joined by Dr. Mohammed Bello Armayau, the State Director of Public Health and a member of the Rapid Response Committee. Doctor, how has been the journey so far?
Good afternoon. The journey has not been very easy, as you know. Already in Nigeria, we have coronavirus, 2 patients in Lagos already. So Kaduna leveraged on the 2014-2015 Ebola crisis. Kaduna State has a standing infectious disease control since 2015, courtesy of His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State. So we have a rapid response team. We have an emergency operations center since last week. And all our local governments have DSNOs. And you could see we do surveillance, we go to motor parks, we have deployed staff to the train stations, to the airports, and anywhere that we think is a major entry place in Kaduna. So Kaduna is fully ready. PPE materials have been bought, IEC material has been bought, and the governor has given a cash backing of over 30 million naira in cash, not cash, properly cash backed. So we have enough materials to make sure that our IDCC center is fully operational, and at least we could isolate and refer later.
With the discovery of the second case, how worried are you?
Definitely we'll be worried now, especially from people coming from Lagos now. We'll have to double cross and double check them also. We are not segregating. It's unfortunate it started in Lagos, so now we'll tell them, please, if you have any travel history now, even from Lagos, it's a plus, not to talk of the European countries, Italy, Iran, China, even the US. So we have to raise the alarm. We have to be worried because we need to contain it when it's possible. By the time you cannot contain it, then we'll go into a very difficult situation.
What definite activity are you engaged on now across all these entry and exit points?
Definitely, we are raising a lot of awareness. We are creating awareness. We are sending our surveillance team. We are telling people what to do and how to avoid these interactions. When you are coughing, please cover your mouth, wash your hands, make sure that if you are sick, you go to health facility. And all our 1,001, over 1,000 primary health facilities have been activated in Kaduna State.
And how has been the response of people generally?
Definitely, people are getting much more aware in Kaduna now. Everybody knows about coronavirus and even Lassa fever. We leverage on Lassa fever, and now there's this chances of getting corona is very high and risky, since we have it in Lagos now and across Cameroon and the neighboring other states.
And at the same time, people are so fearful, thinking of they will die any moment. How do you allay such fears?
No. We should not do rumors. We should not send things that are lies. We should not post things that you don't know. Coronavirus is not a death sentence. There are certain things you do, and most of the time it's the elderly that gets very, very sick. You could be young, you could get sick, and you could easily recover. So it's not something that you send panic. We used to have flu before. So when you have common flu, it's the same virus, but this one, the strain is a little bit more deadly. That's the difference. And the fatality is 2-3%. So we're not saying it's not significant, but it's low.
So what is your final message to our viewers especially?
So please, our viewers, coronavirus is true. It's in Nigeria, it's across the country. We have to take precautions, wash our hands, make sure when we cough, we cover our mouth, make sure when you are sick, you go to facility. Don't spread rumors.
Thank you so much.
That's the solution.
Well, we have been talking with Dr. Bello Mohammed Armayau, the Director of Public Health in the same Ministry of Health, are a member of the Rapid Response Committee against the COVID-19. And that's our contribution from here at Kaduna. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Major Adamu. Yes, migration is inevitable, so we just have to put all the necessary measures in check to ensure that it doesn't spread. All right, next stop for us now is our Lagos Network Center, and I'm sure they have an update also on coronavirus. So let's join Michael Olaleye for more reports.
Hello, Ruth, and welcome to Lagos. Issues revolving around coronavirus have dominated the airwaves, capturing the attention of the entire populace, with individuals and media houses monitoring closely evolving events. For the latest updates, Amaka O sampled the opinion of some Nigerians on the coronavirus.
The scare about coronavirus heightened in Nigeria when some suspected cases were identified. This triggered the rush for hand sanitizers and nose masks.
They are demanding for it badly. Even though it's not last week. My neighbor here sold like, nose cover, he sold like maybe 10 pack. The sanitizer, they bought it a lot.
Price rates, it has really gone up. I felt very bad. Because Nigeria take opportunity of once they be like, everybody has to use it for, to have this COVID-19 coronavirus.
Surprisingly, some people feel that those in the business of these items were taking advantage of a situation and resort to other alternatives.
I use antibacterial wipes. Yeah.
Despite efforts to sensitize Nigerians across media platforms, some are yet to have a good knowledge of the situation.
We don't use hand sanitizers here because we are here to confirm that the coronavirus is here in Nigeria.
Others express fear over the spread of the disease globally.
Nobody would like to be affected by the disease.
In all, federal and state governments are not relenting in their efforts towards sensitizing and educating citizens to protect themselves against coronavirus. In Lagos, Amaka O, NT News.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, is among 7 agencies expelled from the CPOs in the wake of the implementation of the presidential order on the ease of doing business, with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement likely to improve the volume of importation. The Senate Committee on Industries is concerned about the influx of fake and substandard products and is calling for the reinstatement of the agency. Nigeria loses 15 trillion naira to fake and substandard products annually and is ranked one of the world's highest markets for the importation of uncertified goods. The ports, whether land, sea or air, are the entry points for sizable volume of these fake items. And the Chairman Senate Committee on Industries is optimistic that with the return of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, to the CPOs, the country may likely save 50% of this huge amount.
There must be a seat, an office for you to sit with the customs to know what is going on. The same thing happens to Sugar Council. I'm sorry to say this. You are bringing in something, you don't have office to checkmate what comes in. How do you determine what goes out? So I think the legislator will look into that and amend it where it is necessary.
Using the manufacturing industry to stimulate the pace of economic growth is a core mandate that must be achieved, and this oversight function is to assess the level of work done by SON at ensuring that quality products get into the country.
We are leading other African countries in harmonization and breaking of trade barriers. Our lab, we have about 40 labs here, about 8 of them are accredited, then 20 undergoing accreditation at the same time to position them in readiness for the continental free trade.
In the wake of implementing guidelines for the takeoff of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, standard is sacred. Political parties should adopt a quota system in their constitutions and manifestos, with women and men having equal opportunities on their candidates list. This was a submission of women legislators at an event to commemorate International Women's Day. Hingino John Adams tells us more.
Nigeria, out of the 469 members of the National Assembly, only 21 are women. This statistics is not going down well with some female legislators. Honorable Taiwo Oluga is the chairman, House Committee on Women in Parliament, and she is not keeping quiet about it, as her voice is high on this issue.
The Senate President has done well. He has co-opted all the women into the committee. So we plead to our Right Honorable Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, to include us, because if you are not there, you cannot speak.
At this gathering of female legislators, participants are coming up with strategies that will increase the number of women in both appointive and elective positions.
I have set up a mentoring class, a mentorship class, so I can mentor young girls, to see that they get educated first.
Nothing is given to you on a platter of gold. And so whatever you want, from political inclusion to other offices, be it non-political or political office, you just have to work it out.
Major takeaways would be for government at all levels to be more sensitive to the needs of the women, or even in terms of budgeting.
With the resolutions made here, the female legislators are optimistic that by 2023, the figures will change in favor of women. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And those are the stories trending at this hour in Lagos. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Many thanks, Michael. Welcome back to Abuja. The Sani Abacha Road is now a one-way drive. Now, this is part of the activation of the Abuja Master Plan. Joseph Johnson, who caught up with the FCT minister as he flagged off the enforcement, has an update for us.
Following the Federal Capital Development Authority's announcement that Sani Abacha Way, that is the road that separates the CBN head office and of course the National Christian Center, will become a one-way drive beginning today, Monday, 9th March 2020. We've come to see how motorists are complying with that directive. As you can see, it's been enforced. No more driving towards the National Mosque from NTA headquarters, CBN and the Ecumenical Center. But let's get to find out how this is going down with road users.
It's frustrating. I have to go and merry-go-round before I get here. It's not funny, Sha. Maybe with time we'll get used to it.
I think if the motorists were able to, if we can follow the right route, within 6-5 minutes, you can actually drive around. So it's much safer. The road is much wider.
I know good on one way, Oga.
You know, like
no. It's a very good moves. At least it will minimize the accidents, and there will be the road safetiness will be very effective.
This is one particular project that we have spent enormous amount of time and resources, because without completing this project, the northern and southern sectors of Abuja would not be connected. And now we've allowed traffic movement for the last few months, just to allow construction to continue. But we have reached a certain milestone where we have to now start enforcing the one-way traffic system. And the whole idea is that's how it's meant to be. And this is supposed to be what we call the central cultural spine of Abuja.
It is quite understandable and expected that there will be gridlock and confusion on this road, pending when motorists would have been fully aware of the new traffic rule. For now, though, alternative routes have been advised. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Many thanks, Joseph. President Muhammadu Buhari joins Nigerian body of benches and Nigerian Bar Association in celebrating former Justice of the Supreme Court and High Commissioner of the United Kingdom, Justice George Adeshola Oguntade, on his 80th birthday, March 10, 2020. In a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says President Buhari, in a tribute to Justice Oguntade, the President said the High Commissioner earned his respect while serving at the Supreme Court before his retirement in 2010, by the way he conducted himself with virtue, honesty and conviction to do the right thing. The President wishes Justice Oguntade good health, longer life and service to the country, and prays the Oguntade clan continue to increase. And just as our next stop on Nationwide, as we join Felicia to bring us more reports on Nationwide.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Jos. As issues of gender equality dominate discourse in various forms across the country, women rights activists in Jos have joined in calling for more inclusion of women through economic development to enable them contribute to national development. This is the focus of some key players as they marked this year's International Women's Day, put together by Women for Women International. Bilkisu Nuhu has the details.
This group of women drawn from different parts of the state are celebrating their determination, doggedness and resilience in changing the narrative of the women folk. They have over the years benefited from the gesture of this organization, which has empowered them socially and economically to contribute their quota to the development of their families and community at large.
Women need to be economically empowered. When they're economically empowered, to a large extent, a lot of things, negative things, reduces.
Key players in women advocacy say activities of the organization for over 5 years has tremendously improved the lives of the rural women and men.
The women are changing, they are well organized, they are productive, we are enjoying their lifestyle than before.
In a presentation on human rights, women were intimated on their rights, which includes right to life, inheritance, and other issues.
Typically, if issues like this arise, when you even suspect something like this is about happening, you can quickly come to the commission and then lay your complaint, and then from there we'll take it up from that.
The theme for this year's celebration is I Am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. In Jos, Bilkisunuhu, NTA News.
The proliferation of unlicensed stores and self-medication among Nigerians are considered as a huge burden on the healthcare delivery system in Nigeria. Zenred Dimun reports that this was re-echoed at the 45th induction of pharmacy graduates, University of Jos.
Pharmaceutical care is an integral part of healthcare delivery. The challenge, however, has been the effectiveness of pharmaceutical care. This is seen in the proliferation of pharmaceutical stores, especially in rural areas, with its attendant consequences.
Using drug without prescription, which is what is self-medication, has a lot of implications. First and foremost, it hinders the ability to clearly identify what is wrong with the individual.
These professionals say can be checked through increased awareness among Nigerians.
We have been involved in huge awareness. I mean, all you need to do is walk into a pharmacy, ask the pharmacist. It's the responsibility of the pharmacist to actually help you and talk you through all of these things.
They are advised to consult their pharmacist for rational drug therapy, in which case is the right drug for the right patient at the right dose, the right frequency, the right duration, and for the right price.
The Pharmaceutical Society is also working on ensuring that graduates are adequately trained to understand their role in the healthcare delivery system. This is as the council inducts 74 pharmacists with a charge to refrain from illicit practices. In Jos, Zenred Dimun, NTA News.
That's the much we can take from Jos. Ruth is back to you for more on Nationwide in Abuja.
Thank you, Felicia. People of Osun State have thrown their weight behind the new education policy of the state, which among others abolished the single uniform for all public schools in the state. Correspondent Femi Afariogun reports that the new policy is expected to raise the hitherto poor standard of education.
Sometimes now, there have been agitations by the people of Osun State on the education policy of the past administration, particularly the single uniform for all public schools. In addition to this, the state also runs 4534 middle school system of education as against the widely accepted 6334 system.
You can't determine who is doing what because they are all in the same uniform. And before someone says, it's from this place, it's from that place, people will say, how do you get to know that?
The national level is operating 6334. So why is the state exceptional? So equally, the state should key in exactly what the federal level too is doing.
For these reasons, the state government set up a panel headed by Professor Uluaino, an educationist, to critically look at the policy, and having submitted its recommendations, government agreed with them all.
Will henceforth allow every school to return to its old established and recognized public uniform.
With the implementation of new education policies by the Osun State government, schools like Oshogbo Government High School will now have to revert back to their old name, Oshogbo Grammar School. The coming days will see to the implementations of these policies and the general acceptability of it all. In Oshogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTN.
Many thanks, Femi. Let's look at women issues. The role of women in nation building cannot be underestimated, and so the federal government will do all within its power to ensure that the Nigerian women attain greatness and as well achieve their goals of being worthy role models in the society. This was the message of the head of service to women at the commemoration of the 2020 International Women's Day by the head of service Christian Fellowship in Abuja. Let's hear from Doindia.
Euphoria of the 2020 International Women's Day is very much in the air, and just in the mood of that celebration, the head of service Christian Fellowship is also celebrating this day with various messages written on the flags, such as display, one of which is, we choose to be equal for humanity. Another said gender equality, economic prosperity. And that is the message for this year's celebration. I have one of the women here who will shed light on the event of today.
The theme is each for equal. And when we are talking of equality, we are saying we should give everybody opportunity. That is gender right.
Thank you very much. One important message that I'm taking away from here is the fact that the women actually been the forefront of contributing meaningfully to the socio-economic development of Nigeria. And of course, you see that playing out during elections, seeing their ability to multitask, and that is why it becomes imperative for all and sundry to support these wonderful women even as they celebrate womanhood.
Good to see Doin standing up for the women too, supporting. But let's join Enugu Network Center for more reports on Nationwide, and Mina will be our guide.
Many thanks, Ruth. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. Since the outbreak of coronavirus in China and the first confirmed case in Nigeria, there has been anxiety in every quarter for the fear of the deadly virus. Nigerians, including residents of Enugu State, are calling on government at various levels to take proactive measures to prevent the virus from spreading. In this special report, Chidi Okorafor takes a look at the people's reactions and the levels of preparedness of the state government to prevent and subsequently tackle the virus in the event of an outbreak.
The first case of the coronavirus outbreak, also called COVID-19, was reported in Wuhan, China, and subsequently spread all over the country. In Enugu, residents and medical experts have reacted to the escalating nature of the virus, what government has done and is doing to prevent and contain any possible outbreak.
They've activated their own, emergency operations center with all the activities that should be done. Once you have a patient that has fever, that has history of having traveled to any of those places, that has cough or shortness of breath, difficulty in breathing, you isolate. We haven't had any case yet, but we're prepared and set in case we should have somebody with such a problem.
The state government has also supported by putting things in place, by providing things we're supposed to use for hand washing, sanitizers, drugs, to keep in case we should have any outbreak.
The Minister of Health, Professor Osage Ehanere, had urged Nigerians not to panic as the government, through his ministry, is working around the clock, strengthening measures to ensure an outbreak is controlled and contained quickly. In Enugu, Chidi Okorafor, NTN News.
The Chairman House Committee on Aviation, Nole Naji, has charged the contractor handling the rehabilitation works at the Akanu International Airport, Enugu, to speed up work to meet the Easter deadline for the reopening of the airport. Speaking during an inspection visit by the committee, the chairman insisted that the delays in the work are unacceptable as the Easter deadline is sacrosanct. Susan Eze has the report.
The
committee members visited the different project sites within the airport, interacting with the contractors, project engineers, and the consultants to ascertain the level and quality of work done so far. Some of the project sites inspected include the VOR site for regulation of flight activities, the runway, the automatic weather observing systems, among others. According to the project consultant, the 17 identified areas of first attack have been tackled, including the draining of waterlogged areas on the runway and creation of collector drains to avoid ponding during the rains. He assured that the quality of the extended 3 kilometers runway is high enough to accommodate heavy aircrafts.
And this airport is being designed to go over from pavement classification, to go over and above the aircraft classification by more than 25%.
The committee chairman insisted on quality and timely delivery of the project.
Anything outside this time is not acceptable.
At the International Terminal building, the contractor told the team they needed more funds as they worked towards completing the project by the end of the year. The committee, earlier on arrival, paid a courtesy visit to the state governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
The governor of Enugu State, Dr. Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, says the state government is determined to ensure equal rights for both men and women in the state. Governor Ugwuanyi made this known during the commemoration of International Women's Day in Enugu. Once again, Susan Eze reports.
This year's International Women's Day tagged I Am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. The governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who was represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff, said the state government is committed to partnering women, adding that the same responsibilities given to men will always be given to women in the state.
The Enugu State government, under the watch of His Excellency, Right Honorable Dr. Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, has always shown a clear commitment to the protection and promotion of women's rights.
The Chief Judge of Enugu State said the justice system is designed to provide succor, equity and fairness to the citizens in line with the attendant laws of the state, regardless of gender, color, among others.
Sensitize women in the rural and urban areas to enable women at all levels to seek redress on matters affecting them.
The Commissioner, Ministry of Gender Affairs and Social Development, explained that women should be given equal opportunities in the society.
The social protection policy targeting women and poorest of the poor to protect and promote their rights.
UNICEF representative Victor Atuchukwu encouraged women to make efforts in ensuring gender equality. The event was well attended by people from within and outside the state. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And that does it from here. It's back to you, Ruth, for a continuation of Nationwide.
All right, thank you, Mina. And for us now, many thanks for being there. Now, earlier we told you of a new education policy that was introduced in Oshogbo, that abolished, single uniform for public schools in the state. Where we have the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, Ismail Omikbedon, now join me live via Skype to give us an insight to the situation, talking about the new policy. Good day, Mr. Omikbedon. Now, what informed the government's decision for this reversal, and how are stakeholders taking this new education system?
Like it was reported, the new education policy came about as a result of agitation from the people of the state. As a matter of fact, during the electioneering, the governor, when he was also asked if he was going to tinker or rejig the education policy, he did say that if the people wanted it rejigged, that he would be looking at it. Again, after the election, DFID conducted citizen needs assessment, where the people again made requests for some of those policies to be reviewed. In addition, the governor, during his thank you tour, also harvested some of the needs that the people want. And part of these needs were that some of these policies be reviewed. As a result of that, the government set up a panel comprising eminent citizens from the state and from outside, educationists like Professor Oluaina, former Chief of Army Staff, General Alani Akinyade, Professor Pai Obanya, a seasoned educationist.
Mr. Omikpidon, let me hold your thoughts there. I asked you two questions in one. Now, you have said why the decision was taken by the government. How are stakeholders, taking this new education system?
For those recommendations that were adopted by the state government at its executive council meeting.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard my question. I'm talking about the stakeholders now. How are they taking this new policy, stakeholders in the education system in the state?
Well. Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Omikpidon? I said, how are stakeholders taking the new education policy?
Interestingly, the stakeholders embraced it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, in about 15 months that we have been in government, apart from the regular payment of salaries, which resonated well with the stakeholders, cutting across party lines, the review of these educational policies is another policy that resonated well with the stakeholders across party lines, across religious lines. It's a policy that is very popular with the people.
All right. Thank you very much. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, Ismail Omikpidon, has been talking about, giving us an insight on the new education policy in Oshogbo. Let's look at other issues. Piracy is one phenomenon that has continued to disturb the progress of writers and publishers, necessitating the need for more stringent measures to safeguard the intellectual property of artists. This is the takeaway from the meeting of State's Chapter Chairman and Secretaries of Association of Nigerian Authors in Abuja. Let's hear from Abdullahi Musa Suleja.
Film producers and artists alike, publishers and writers have all been grappling with challenges posed by pirates, a development the Nigerian Copyright Commission is poised to tackle. The meeting of chairmen and secretaries of Association of Nigerian Authors in Abuja was to, among other things, pass a vote of confidence on the commission and the need for government to do more in increasing its capacity. For the Abuja gathering, the unwholesome practices associated with pirates have overwhelmed the regulatory body, hence the need for drastic measures in that direction.
So you need more and more personnel that can be everywhere and be more equipped in terms of their training, so that people who are working, bringing out all these intellectual materials and property, they should benefit.
The association also intends to scale up collaboration with the commission in its fights against piracy in the country. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Let's look at sporting activities. Cherryfield College, Jikwe, Abuja continues to create an excellent platform for sports and academic excellence in the country. Correspondent Ayodeji Makin.